With the March-heated electoral campaigns around the corner, the UN Women is clamoring for equal representation and participation of all marginalized women who have actually been battered the most during this COVID-19 pandemic. UN Women took the time to talk to the Electoral Commission today to draft resolutions that could enable participate freely and with we are having a scientific election, so the cost is so high. So how will women adapt? Can women, can they adapt to the new regulations, the new roadmap that was passed on June 16th? Well, that's some of the those are some of the ideas we are going to be sharing with Adekemi Ndieli. She's the Deputy Country Representative to Uganda. Many thanks for joining us. Yes, UN Women. Thank you for joining us right here on NTV at 1. First of all, what are the women saying, Adekemi?
Let me start with the story. And I can situate what is happening within the context of that story. I don't know whether you've heard of the Aesop's fable. There is the story of a stork and a fox. So the fox invited the stork. You know, the stork has a very sharp beak. Invited the stork to its house for a meal. And the food was on a flat plate. Of course, the stork left that place hungry. But the fox said, I have provided all that you need. I gave you the plate, I gave you the food. But the stork said, I couldn't eat it. He said, well, I provided you the food. So the stork said, you come to my house next time. And then the stork invited the fox. And when the fox got to the stork's house, the food was provided in a long jar, which is what the stork is used to eating. And of course, the fox couldn't eat. The moral of that story is that even if you provide necessities, you provide information, you provide access. However, if it is not accessible to the generality of the people, and there are barriers that make it impossible to access those things, then you haven't really provided those amenities or those opportunities. So within the context of the electoral roadmap, we know that the government has done quite a lot by ensuring that the spread of the disease is curtailed. However, with the ICT facilities and the modalities, the scientific modalities that the government is putting in place, it would be making it very challenging for majority of the voters and the electorate, as well as those aspiring to access the opportunities. And we know that Uganda has more than 9 million female voters, while male voters are about 8 million. So majority of the voters, majority of the electorate are women.
So the main issue in this case at Adekemi Ndieli is the fact that women lack the financial muscle to actually participate in a scientific election.
Absolutely.
All right.
How many of them have access to a phone or even a radio? Let's leave the phone, first of all, for the urban areas. The radio in rural areas. And if, for example, some people are saying, why can't the government provide radios so that these votes can be canvassed for? Really? Because when the radios are provided, they're going to get into the hands of the men. And while a woman goes to the farm, how is she going to hear the aspirants canvassing for the votes? How is she going to know who is providing the values and the information that she needs to access opportunities within her area? So what we have there is an unequal playing field. It is the affluent, it is the rich who are able to access these opportunities, and therefore it excludes a certain segment of the society and makes it difficult for them to access those opportunities.
So, Adekemi Ndieli, so what are the recommendations of UN Women in this case?
Well, I would say the recommendations that we're hearing from the women themselves, because what we do is to go to the women themselves and hear what they're saying, because they are the ones who are wearing the shoes and they know where the issues are pinching. One of the most important is for government to open up access to public gatherings. Within the context of the standard operating procedures of those gatherings, not maybe like an open playing field with people well spaced out, and give opportunity for aspirants to at least speak to the electorate. That way, COVID-19 will still be stemmed. People will put on their mask, observe the social distancing rules, and hand sanitizers provided in such events. That will give the opportunity. Another very important request from women is OTT, for OTT to be taken off. And we know that that tax is in place and is actually making it impossible for women to access ICT facilities for the elections.
So, in a nutshell, you're telling me that the women cannot afford a scientific election, and the option right now is to allow some limited rallies under SOPs so that women can also participate in this electoral process.
Yes.
Ndieli Adekemi, the deputy country representative, UN Women to Uganda. Thank you for having made the time to speak to us.
Thank you.
Okay.